Well, what's the difference from game 1 to game 2 today? There's nobody else in this regional who is as dangerous a hitter as Kiki Malloy. We began with 4 teams, now down to 2. This is the Tennessee starting lineup presented by Capital One. 25 home runs, most in the country. She's got 2 of the 6 Tennessee home runs here in their first 2 games. And this is a lineup that can score with the best of them.
Yeah, they've got power 1 through 9 throughout this lineup, but Kiki Malloy sets herself apart because of the power numbers, but also because of the speed. You get into a difficult predicament when you have Kiki Malloy in the box because you can choose not to pitch to her. 25 home runs makes a lot of sense, or you can choose to walk her. She's got 37 stolen bases, so it might as well be a double.
And it's 3-0 to start. Strike is in. It's 78 degrees at first pitch. Sun beaming down onto the field here at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium, and a slight breeze. And this Tennessee home crowd was here for most of game 1, in which their team was not playing. Suppose they were doing some scouting for game number 2 of the day.
Yeah, this is the first time that Tennessee has seen Heather Johnson. They saw Bree Copeland in game 1. Was in Montgomery, but did not see Heather Johnson, the number 2 on this staff.
Check swing as Malloy holds up, and she draws a leadoff walk.
Hey, as far as pitch sequences go, that's about as good as you can do against Kiki Malloy to try and get her to check swing on that last pitch. Change up low in the zone.
Johnson in game 1 against Louisville, she retired all 15 batters she faced. So this is the first time that she's pitching to anybody with a runner on base here this afternoon. And Zeta Pooney is at the plate. This Lady Vol offense, second highest scoring team in the country, only behind Oklahoma this year. About 8 a game for the Sooners, about 7 per contest for Tennessee. And quite an offensive showing for Oklahoma in their win over California to punch their ticket to Supers. Through the first 3, they scored 14. Final score, Oklahoma 16, California 3. Malloy on the move. The call is strike, and the throw to second. She is in there safely under the tag from Taryn Kern. 38th stolen base of the year for Kiki Malloy.
As Shauna Stanton comes out of the dugout immediately because of the close play here at second base. Kiki Malloy gets a really good jump, obviously the speed. But look at the slide. This is what is so good about this play. She dives head first. She understands where the tag is coming in. She pulls her left hand back out of the reach of Brooke Benson at shortstop and slides that right hand towards the back of the base. And I think she's going to be safe on this because of the mastery of this slide right here. So look, both hands are going in. She pulls that that left hand back, reaches that right hand out towards the back corner of the base. And I think she's going to touch that back corner of second base before Benson's able to get a tag on her. Yep, avoids the tag right there, and I think she's going to get that hand right in the backside. It's such a close play and a beautiful throw from Avery Parker.
It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field as the umpires go down the headset and they chat with their staff back in Pittsburgh, the headquarters of DV Sport. And from the looks we've seen, you imagine it'd be a quick call here as they've got the decision relayed to them. It'll either be 1 out or Malloy at second and nobody out. A 2-1 count on Pooney. And she remains safely at second base.
So I'm telling you, it's what Kiki Malloy does. Really quick into this ball game. You got a runner in scoring position for Tennessee, and you have some big time hitters behind her. Zeta Pooney, 10 home runs. McKenna Gibson, 15 home runs. Zeta Pooney, in the game opener this weekend, had 2 home runs, 1 oppo, 1 pull side.
Woo! Each coach gets 2 challenges, and I think it's a smart call there by Shauna Stanton to use that one early. You want to give a boost to your pitcher, to your team, try and keep one of the most dangerous players in the country off the base paths. So she's got 1 left. Back-to-back full counts to begin the game, and Pooney slices it foul down the right field line toward the Indiana bullpen. This one hit high and deep by Pooney, and she goes yard for the third time this weekend.
This Tennessee team has just been on fire at this regional. They're so good, so dangerous 1 through 9. Zeta Pooney has such a beautiful swing. She just hits this. This is a textbook job. Able to stay compact to her backside and then throws her hand towards the opposite field to get a ton of pop. And she knows right off the bat that that thing is gone. She crushed that. Hits it well deep into the bleachers in right field. And Kiki Malloy is loving it as well. It's exactly what you want if you're Tennessee to get started in this ball game. They're wearing the mommy hat. They're throwing the money in the dugout. This is who they are.
And still nobody out here in the first for Boo Gibson. The 17th home run of the weekend collectively here at the regional. Tennessee responsible for 7 of them. 3 straight reach to start the game. Gibson with a single into center field.
We've been hearing all season long and in our coaches' interviews and player interviews earlier this week how this Tennessee team wants to be in attack mode. And you can tell from that at-bat from Zeta Pooney and from McKenna Gibson, who is ready on that first pitch. They're in attack mode.
Pinch runner Bradley Massouzin at first base for Gibson.
No doubt. It's so important this time of year to think about. You never know. You never know who's going to come from behind. So if you have an opportunity to put the game away, you absolutely do. Playing Indiana yesterday, Riley West with a 4-run lead had an opportunity to put this game away and give the Tennessee Lady Vols an 8-run lead, and she hit a grand slam to do it, her 4th of the season. Woo! And we've been talking about this. We've been keeping up with all the regionals around the country. Really exciting to see all the softball being played. You just can't take any inning opportunity for granted. I mean, look at UCLA, number 2 team in the country, bounced. You got to come in ready to go, especially as the host team. People are coming into your house to end your season. You take that personally, and you got to go all gas, no brakes.
And a significant number of Game 7s have been played today as well. The most impressive finale thus far, Catherine Sandercock of Florida State, after they lost the first game of the day. That was Game 6, 4-0 against South Carolina. She comes back and throws a perfect game, the first in the NCAA tournament since Montana Fouts did it in 2021. This one, way deep left field to the warning track, and Kettleman just gets underneath it and retires Riley West, who threatened a second home run in 3 batters from Tennessee.
Yeah, that swing on the changeup got this crowd fired up. You can tell they're hungry again for those runs on the board. They want to see the Tennessee team, who has failed to advance to to super regionals the last 2 seasons. They want to see this Tennessee team advance. And we go back to Catherine Sandercock. Last year, you and I called that Tallahassee regional where Mississippi State upset the Seminoles as the 2 seed. And you can't tell me that after they dropped Game 1 to South Carolina, Kat Sandercock said, I'm going to put this game into my own hands. I'm going to take us on my back to supers. You know, what a performance. Are you kidding me? A perfect game?
And that's a team that has not relied on your traditional starter, maybe turn it over to the bullpen for the 6th or the 7th. They have mixed and matched throughout the year, but when push comes to shove, they let her go. That's a delayed steal, and it does not work out for Miss Susan as she is thrown out by Parker, who's made 2 very nice throws down to second base.
Tennessee trying to get aggressive on the base pass, especially with Avery Parker behind the plate, who is their normal catcher, but they flip out their catchers. Lindsey Work, you'll see behind the plate, but a beautiful throw and a nice tag right there from Brooke Benson.
Second out of the inning to count 2-1 to Donahue, the shortstop for Tennessee. Now 3-1. Yeah, don't be surprised to see multiple positional changes, whether it's at third, in right field, or even behind the plate for Indiana as the game goes along. Second walk of the first frame for Heather Johnson.
There's something that we're seeing that's a little bit different today in this ball game compared to Indiana's earlier ball game. Heather Johnson, who loves to use that outside corner of the plate, was getting the very, very outside corner of the strike zone, consistently called, maybe even a half a ball off was being called for a strike. A little bit tighter here in game 2.
Terry Holt is the umpire behind the dish. James Colsey at first, Mark Brown at second, Kevin Condor over at third. Boutte whiffs on the bunt try there, 0-2. Fly ball out to left. It's Kettleman on the move. She retreats to the track, and that ends the inning. But a seismic start for the Lady Vols here in the first. Zeta Poonies got helped out by a couple of errors over at first base late in that game. And they're going to need to have one of their better games of the season here against Tennessee.
Yeah, you know, with the offense that Tennessee puts up, they're going to need to score runs early and often throughout this ball game. And for them to be successful, they need to execute. You saw that against Louisville. They did a good job of moving runners, getting the bunt down when they needed to, forcing errors on the Louisville defense. Obviously, this Tennessee team and defense is going to be a little bit tougher than what you saw out of Louisville, but again, they just have to find ways to make contact, get on base, because Peyton Gottschall has some filthy stuff in the circle.
Bassett to Malloy, 1 out. Indiana squad hit the most home runs in the Big Ten, 6th highest in the country at the end of the regular season. Had the 2nd most stolen bases in the Big Ten. They're going up against a pitcher who I can't say in any sport I've ever heard anyone use this as their intro song, save for the person whose song it was when he was an active athlete. That was Triple H. When he was wrestling, it was WWF, now WWE, and the song is called The Game. It's by Motorhead, so it's a lot of kind of music. Is that a good description?
That was a great
Thank you.
description.
I've been working on
Thank you. I'm so glad you shared that with our audience today.
It's a bit of an sound
Yeah.
to it. So the lyrics to that, because we asked about it, and her teammates cracked up. They go, that song is just her. That's who she is. So the song goes, it's all about the game and how you play it, all about control and if you can take it, all about your debt and if you can pay it. It's all about pain and who's going to make it.
That's intense right there. I mean, come on. Bring it, Peyton Gottschall. And speaking of bringing it, Taryn Kern versus Peyton Gottschall. These are one of those at-bats that you circle and you really think about. The freshman going up against Gottschall that's already had a no-hitter that we talked about in this regional. It's going to be challenging the upper half of the zone with Gottschall's movement.
A strike assessed on Kern, so now 1-2 after she fouled that away.
Yeah, that was so interesting, though. Getting this Tennessee team to talk about the different personas that they are in the circle. And Peyton Gottschall, they talked about, she's really reflected in her walk-up song, and she's unique, but she's a battler. She's intense. And then on the other side of things, you had Ashley Rogers, and they call her the mother of the pitching staff.
But we got to clarify, who do they call the mother? They call Gottschall
that's right.
the mother.
That's right. You're
Rogers
right.
is the
Rogers
grandma.
Is the grandmother. Even better.
A year senior to Gottschall, who's still got another year of eligibility.
But I said Rogers. I was like, they're calling you the grandma, but I've seen her get intense in the circle too. She fires this team up as well.
Grandmas can rock out to Motorhead.
That's right. Yeah, but I think not only do these two pitchers and the rest of this pitching staff have the talent and all the pieces to be really successful, but they also have that mentality.
Especially because that was Gatchell's career up until arriving here at Tennessee. That's ball 4 to Kern with a very discerning eye at the plate. But Gatchell had to do everything at Bowling Green. She transferred in here, and Karen Weekly said if not for her head coach at Bowling Green leaving, she probably doesn't even transfer. She's an Ohio native, so it wasn't terribly far from where she grew up just outside of Canton to go west in the state to go to Bowling Green. And she was always in the top 10 in the strikeouts in the country. The difference was she felt like if she gave up a run against MAC competition, she didn't know if her team was going to win that game. Here, 8 runs a game on average, you could feel comfortable if you give up 5.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think the other thing that stood out to me talking to Karen Weekly is when asking about that transfer and Peyton Gottschall coming in and not being ace number 1.
Bouncing ball up the middle, and that's a base hit for Taylor Minnick, first and second. So despite a big start for Tennessee in the top of the first as the visiting team here in this game, Indiana has 2 aboard for Sarah Stone.
This is how you have to handle Peyton Gottschall. She likes to live up, and Minnick does a really nice job of getting her barrel up at the level that you need to be at to hit that rise ball, that movement up. And she's not going to blow it by you, but she's extremely spinny. You can see it when she cups that ball in her wrist, when she's going through her motion. She's all about getting movement. Not that she doesn't throw the ball hard. She's not so spinny that she's only coming in at 50 miles an hour. She's coming in the mid-60s. But again, her focus is movement over velocity. And going back to what we're talking about with Peyton Gottschall earlier, she wanted to come in. She knew Ashley Rogers was ace number 1. She wanted to pitch with Ashley Rogers.
Fouled away by Stone with Aaliyah Andrews coming in as the pinch runner for Minnick over at first. So it's Kern at second, Andrews at first, and one away here for Stone. Tennessee with a 2-0 lead. They have run ruled their first 2 wins here. Indiana needs a win to force a winner-take-all game 7. But if Tennessee wins, they know where they will be next weekend, just not necessarily yet, unless the Texas game went final, who they'll be playing.
I think it's close. It was late in the ball game. Last I checked, 6th inning.
And they had the Longhorns did a healthy lead, and they have won 11-5 over Texas A&M. And the winning pitcher in that game, Mac Morgan, facing her former head coach, Tricia Ford. They were both at Arizona State last year. Morgan went to Austin. Tricia Ford took over in College Station.
Yeah, Texas is another one of those good young teams. Tons of freshmen in the lineup that are impact players. You know, that in-state rivalry too between Texas A&M and Texas was such a good one to watch. Their tight 2-1 ball game yesterday. I was locked in for that one.
And since Mike White has taken over there, every full season he's coached, they've gone to Supers.
So we're seeing both Heather Johnson and Peyton Gottschall really wanting to use that outside corner of the plate. Soyanopoulos does a nice job of trying to get that back in, but it's not being called a strike today.
Two to Stone, and it's down the left field line. West can't get there. She's gotten to a number of those that have drifted into foul territory this weekend.
Yeah, thinking about this ball game and how successful Peyton Gottschall was, we're already seeing Indiana making moves early in this ball game. Sarah Stone with their 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up. With the 2-run lead, I wouldn't be shocked if we see somewhat of a short leash. Peyton Gottschall, knowing they got Ashley Rogers and Carlin Pickens, who we haven't even seen yet.
I think Tyler on the third base high camera there just took a foul ball.
Yeah, we have all that netting, and there's a tiny hole for that camera to go. And I think he got one right in the leg. But kudos to him, because he came back and he caught the camera. The camera was starting to like tip over, and he went and grabbed it.
Keeping the left arm loose.
What you call playing through the pain?
That's a next pitch mentality from Tyler.
Yeah.
Tougher than I will tell you that one. 2-2, yeah, deep left field. West is at the warning track, and it squirts out of her glove. It drops down onto the warning track. Runners at every base. They could not go any further as West had it, lost it, nearly pulled it out on the warning track, and the Hoosiers have the bases loaded here in the bottom of the first, looking to answer.
Nice piece of hitting here from Sarah Stone. You know, this is a base running mistake from IU. You can see Taryn Kern's going to go back and she's going to tag up, or it's not Taryn Kern, excuse me. Oh yeah, it is. It's Taryn Kern who's going to go back and tag up. And this is a situation where as soon as you see the outfielder running back and they're going to try and make a tight play at the wall, your advancement from second to third isn't that big of a deal with one out on the board. But if you get off, as she's running back to the wall, if you get off the base and get a good lead, as soon as she drops that, you're gonna score. That's the difference. So again, she's gonna see this, pick it up. She's gonna go back and tag because she thinks she's gonna track it down, but then you see Riley West drop it, and then the only way that she can, the only base she can advance to is third. She's taking scoring off the board, but if she gets off, that's a run for Indiana. There's things you learn, right, as a freshman. We're so ingrained sometimes to go back and tag because you're thinking, oh, if she catches it, I'll get one base. But here's the thing, if she drops it, you're gonna get two.
And there will be no runs that are easy to come by against this pitching staff. Bree Copeland has the bases loaded, one away. Down 2-0 here in the first, and Copeland has been one of the stars of this team here in this regional, whether it's been in the circle or at the plate.
That's a healthy cut right there, and this is what we know of Bree Copeland, is that she can hit the snot out of the ball. I mean, she hit the farthest ball I've seen hit all season long. It went well over the scoreboard at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium, and that is a large scoreboard. I mean, she just is so strong. Teammates talk about what a beef she is in the weight room. She leads in pretty much every weightlifting category for this IU team.
She got a good piece of that one.
I'm really impressed. This Indiana team has been ready. They're prepared to face Peyton Gottschall. We've seen some really good at-bats, some good quality pieces of hitting. Taylor Minnick, Sarah Stone, and now Bree Copeland all having good at-bats.
1-2 pitch. Foul back. And perhaps the biggest fan of Team 50, the Hoosier squad this year, is Bree's mom, Carol, who travels to every game, home and away. Big Ten competition in March and April. That means a lot of cold weather sitting in the stands.
Well, she's got the camera out. She's ready for that big moment.
You know it. 1-2 again. Swing and a miss, strike three. Gottschall fired up with a strikeout.
It's a good at-bat and a really good comeback pitch here from Peyton Gottschall. Look at this, rise ball. That ball doesn't jump. You know, a lot of times you see that chase rise ball and it's gonna end up at the eyes. This one, it just has that deceptive movement. Starts about belt high and then creeps up right at the last second to get Bree Copeland underneath that.
Bases stay loaded. The catcher, Avery Parker. The freshman from Westfield, Indiana. All freshman team in the Big Ten this year. And when they want more offense, which is what they need in this game, they put her in the lineup. They're off the hands over to third, and Pooney squeezes the third out. Indiana loads the bases. Gottschall gets.
The reality is just because you get that regional seed we put so much attention and pressure on the selection committee and where you're seated 1 through 16. The reality is, the game doesn't know. The game doesn't know who's number 2, who's an unseeded team coming to your house. We're seeing more and more upsets, and you mentioned it earlier, a lot of Game 7s.
Julia Katsoyanopoulos leads off, bottom third of the order for Tennessee here. Well, I don't know about you, but I still have a flawless bracket, so everything's going perfectly for me. Seeding-wise, too, only 3 times in our current format, which is going back to 2005, have the top 8 seeds reached the World Series in the same year. So basically, look at the bracket and just throw a dart and say, some of these teams are not making it. Odds are that's the case. Last year, you had 3 unseeded teams make it to Oklahoma City.
That was unbelievable. Last year, you had Oregon State came out of nowhere. Arizona, who finished bottom of the pack, ended up going on the road to Mississippi State and upsetting the Bulldogs, who upset Florida State.
Stacking upsets on upsets. And this year, for the first time in 35 years, Arizona's not in the postseason. Off the end of the bat for Katsoyanopoulos, Kinsey Mitchell on a trot in retires the former Arizona Wildcat.
The next batter for the Lady Vols is number 19, Jamison Brockenbrough.
And another national seed. Speaking of surprises, that was all of the talk last weekend, was about Alabama's seeding. And we've already seen as UCLA was eliminated, and Alabama and Middle Tennessee are playing a Game 7. Bouncing ball up the middle from the SEC tournament in Fayetteville to here in the NCAA tournament in Knoxville. It has been quite the postseason at the plate for Jamison Brockenbrough.
Yeah, Jamison Brockenbrough stays hot, does a good job sitting back on this pitch. Gets it right back up the middle. She had 5 RBIs in Game 1 against Northern Kentucky.
Now to play for UT, right fielder number 1, Katie Taylor.
Not to mention her incredible performance in the SEC tournament, but she's just been on a heater.
1 on 1 out for Katie Taylor. Going up against Heather Johnson, who waited and waited the first 2 games to come on and pitch for Indiana. Went 5 perfect innings to close out the game against Louisville. She fields this one, and on the rotation, they get the out over at first. This may draw a replay request from the Tennessee side, as Taylor thought she was safe, with Kern getting over there to field the throw.
Katie
That doesn't appear to be the indication from Coach Weekly.
Yeah, Katie Taylor was trying to be a little bit sneaky and see the defense.
Next up for the Lady Vols, the center fielder number 9, Kiki
You can see how
Malloy.
far Taryn Kern has shifted deep and up the middle, so what she wants to do is be able to beat Kern over to first base. This was a really close play. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go to replay.
So here's Chandabel, the pitching coach. She brings the whole infield in because Kiki Malloy is about to be coming up. Another look at that play at first.
Yeah, really, really tight. Looks like the call's going to be right on the field, though.
And because on that play, it's got to be ball in the back of
Yep.
the glove, which it was.
Yep. No, I think that's a good call, and wouldn't have gone in Tennessee's favor if there was a review. And regardless of that, you still got a runner on second, and now you got Kiki Malloy up with somebody in scoring position.
Well, great call there by James Colsey, the umpire at first base. Getting that call right without the benefit of what we have is being able to slow it down. And check that out. So 2 away. Malloy walked, stole second, came in to score on Zeta Pooney's home run in the first.
And this is, they're just wasting pitches now in the other batter's box against Kiki Malloy. And unfortunately, as we continue, and if Tennessee continues throughout the postseason on to Supers and to the Women's College World Series, you're going to continue to see this. And she's going to have to be pretty selective. But the great news from Kiki Malloy, 2 walks today, Zeta Pooney followed the last one up with a home run. Last time Zeta Pooney was up, Heather Johnson tried to get that outside pitch working for her. Zeta Pooney says, not today. I'm going to take that one to the opposite field, and she mashed that.
She just one-upped herself because the other home run she hit there this weekend only hit the metal fence in the front of the bleachers. So she's just adding a little bit to the distance on it.
Yeah, she got a little bit of loft on that last one. The previous Oppo home run she hit against Northern Kentucky on Friday night was a laser. Low line drive, barely snuck over the wall.
So Heather Johnson pitched 5 innings game 1. She goes 1 2/3 against Tennessee and hands the ball off to Sophie Kleiman. This is the second time through the lineup for Tennessee, so Indiana brings a different look, a right-hander into the circle.
Yeah, she's got a heavy down ball. Really gonna try and come over the top of her pitches, get movement and spin, mid-knee, mid-shin level. Freshman, this is gonna be some of the most difficult hitters that she faces all season long. She's got a 6.3 ERA. Only 23 innings pitched. This is a point in that ball game where you hope that somebody that mixes speeds, that can really kind of throw that junk ball a little bit, has some success against a Tennessee team that has absolutely dominated every single pitcher that they've seen from IU so far this week, Heather Johnson and Bree Copeland.
The last appearance for Sophie Kleiman was 5 weeks ago.
You know, the other benefit is that I guarantee you that when Tennessee was scouting, they didn't have their biggest focus on Kleiman.
Kayla, do you remember what percentage of runs Tennessee scored with 2 outs in the SEC tournament?
100%.
100%. That's a very good memory for you. Tennessee has scored 13 runs with 2 outs so far this weekend.
Such a good stat. Like, if you're Karen Weekly and you hear that your team is coming through late innings, you are ecstatic, and it shows the grittiness of your team and the intelligence in those moments. Still tight zone on that outside corner. Pitch looks good. A little bit out, a little bit elevated, but clip the corner.
And that's 13 out of their first 21 came with 2 outs, so 61%. One hop, Taryn Kern on the first, and Kleiman gets the job done, 3rd out of the inning. Bottom of the 2nd, Indiana is the home team in this matchup as they alternate that role as the weekend goes along. They sent 6 to the plate in the first and left the bases loaded. So bottom 3rd of the order here starts with the left fielder Cassidy Kettleman. It'll be interesting to see how the bottom 3rd of this order fares against Gottschall too. They had a lot of time to watch what she did in the first, and she struck out 1 in the first inning, but it seems like they had a pretty good beat on what to expect from Gottschall.
Yeah, they're really going after that up pitch. Gottschall known for her rise ball and the movement on that pitch, and you can tell they're hunting up in the zone, looking for something about belly button high. And we saw that earlier today as well. It's a little bit under the ball against Louisville, Taylor Roby.
And a line drive into center field, 1 hop to Malloy. So one native of the Buckeye State against another, and it's Kettleman, the freshman, who wins the battle there for the leadoff single.
Yeah, nice swing by Kettleman right here. Just simple stroke. Hit this ball right back where it came from, a little bit outside. But again, this Indiana team is hunting pitches up in the zone at the top of the strike zone, belly button high. Nice flat level barrel allows her to get a nice single up the middle.
Kinsey Mitchell batting 8th. Hoosiers making their first appearance in the NCAA tournament since 2011. And they took it all the way down to the wire, almost guaranteeing themselves a spot, falling in walk-off fashion against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game. And Northwestern in a regional final contest right now, locked up at last check at 2 apiece against Miami, Ohio from the Mid-American. Pooney with a throw to first, and it brings Gibson off the bag. Mitchell is safe at first. Kettleman speeds into second.
This is a beautiful bunt by Kinsey Mitchell. Indiana trying to make some things happen against Peyton Gottschall. You can see right here, she's gonna dend this right off the end of her bat. Zeta Pooney has no choice but to pick this up and throw, trying to get her arm in the slot, and because of the rush that she's in, not able to get her body in the correct alignment, and because of this, makes the wide throw to McKenna Gibson over at first.
Goes down as an error on Pooney at third. Gottschall over to Boutte. That time the put out is successful, so is the sacrifice. Kettleman goes to third, Mitchell to second. And back to the top of the order with Cora Bassett.
Fantastic execution from the bottom of this lineup for Indiana. A couple back-to-back base hits. And then Brooke Benson does her job, gets a sack bunt down to turn the lineup over for Cora Bassett and Taryn Kern.
Each of the first 2 innings, Indiana has had the tying runs on base. The difference right now is a Zeta Pooney 2-run homer into the bleachers and right. Bassett, the senior, played her first 2 years at Purdue and then made the move over to Indiana.
Cora Bassett's gonna sit about as far back as you can go in the box. She's gonna put her right foot right on the back chalk line. Look at that, all on the white. Wants to see pitches as long as humanly possible.
Gottschall hunting her second strikeout. Almost tempted Bassett into a swing for strike 3.
Yeah, nice hold right there from Cora Bassett. Good leadoff hitter, stays disciplined on that pitch. Make sure she brings it down.
So 3-2, first base is open, but behind Bassett waits Taryn Kern, and that's not who you want to face with the bases loaded. So here comes Katsoyanopoulos. Her first year as a catcher, she takes charge of the situation. Former first baseman / center fielder at Arizona. Has been such a boost to Tennessee behind the plate. 3-2, and that misses for ball 4, and not by much.
It's a great AB right here from Cora Bassett, who works her way to a full count and then has the discipline to see that this one is going to continue to stay low on the outside corner. That's a pitch that this umpire has not called yet today. Really, really good plate awareness and strike zone awareness right there from bat. First pitch coming in this weekend, and 66% of the time she likes to take that first pitch strike, even if it is a strike. A lot of patience at the plate. She's willing to go deep in the counts, see more than 4 pitches per plate appearance.
Like Bassett, she's deep in the box. Takes the 1-1 upstairs, 2-1. Kettleman started off the inning with a single to center field. Kinsey Mitchell laid down a bunt. The throw from Pooney pulled Gibson off the bag, went down as an error. And a walk for Bassett at first. Bases full, 1 out. 2-1, way out in front, 2-2. Foul again down the line. You feeling this tension?
I'm really enjoying sitting back and watching this at bat. Again, there's just some matchups in these games, the game within the game. How you go and pitch to one of the best hitters in the country, not only one of the best average hitters, the best home run hitters will do damage if she makes contact.
She's just 2 off the nation's lead in home runs. And now does she have to think here, am I going to see an uptick in velocity after she's been out in front on 3 straight pitches?
Well, she's getting jammed on 3 straight pitches too. She loves to toe the chalk. She's begging pitchers to throw it there. She might get a weights pitch up and away.
And she goes down looking. Strike 3 call.
Peyton Gottschall fired up on this one. The location of this. Painting the corner. I mean, you talk about the exact location that you want to throw the softball in that moment. Peyton Gottschall knows that was the perfect pitch that she wanted in that moment.
So Indiana 0 for 3 with the bases loaded just in this game. Minnick is the batter. She's 1 for 1 with a single, and Kotsoyanopoulos, Karen Weekly says, has the best softball IQ on this team. Cat quick reflexes saves that from going to the backstop.
Yeah, sometimes Karen was telling us she's too quick behind the plate, moves a little bit too much, doesn't understand how fast she is. But the learning curve for Kotsoyanopoulos to be able to be where she is right now after only really catching for the first time in the fall, so impressive.
They've even been able to change their defenses in bunt situations because of how fast she is. And here, holding the pitches for an extra beat to make sure she earns those strikes for Gottschall.
You can tell Peyton Gottschall's feeling the strikeout to Kern.
Bases full, 2 out, and the 1-2 is popped up. Pooney puts it away, and the inning is over. Second straight inning to start the game. Boo Gibson 1 for 1 as she leads off for Tennessee in the third. Some nail-biting action here in the first 2 innings. The 2 runs, a Zeta Pooney home run in the first, and Peyton Gottschall has danced into and out of trouble, leaving the bases loaded in each of the first 2 innings.
Yeah, a lot of action offensively for both of these teams. And both of these pitching staffs have done a nice job of just limiting the damage being done. No more than Peyton Gottschall. He mentioned 2 bases loaded situations. Thought her pitches and her mentality, and you could just tell her back was against the wall in those toughest situations. Her pitches got better.
And the difference that it makes having the home crowd behind you. She's got 2 strikes, 2 out, bases loaded. Everybody's on their feet. The aluminum bleachers are rattling here, and it gets loud, and that makes a difference.
And she feeds off of that too, right? You can tell. How can you have the walk-up song, the heavy metal walk-up song that she has, and not get fired up when the crowd is noisy and loud and emotional?
And Sophie Kleiman has come out of the bullpen and made an impact for Indiana. She retired Zeta Pooney on a ground out to finish the second and strikes out Gibson to begin the third.
A really big pitch for the freshman right here against McKenna Gibson, second best home run hitter on this Tennessee team.
Next up for UT, left fielder number 5, Riley West.
This year, the 19th straight trip to the NCAA tournament for the Lady Vols. Every year since 2004, and the 18th straight year hosting. It's only Tennessee and Alabama who have hosted every year since this format started back in 2005. And Alabama right now in a winner-take-all Game 7 in Tuscaloosa. Bottom 4, no score against Middle Tennessee. Three and 1 to Riley West. Kern to her left, and a sidearm toss to first, 2 away. So Kayla, you and I the last 2 days, everything, but we can.
I love the 7 innings live. Pops you around to all the best games that are happening right at that moment. Some big time situation. You know, if there's a game with the bases loaded, they're gonna hop over to that. Not to mention incredible commentary from Michelle Smith, Jess Mendoza, 2 of the greatest minds in the game.
And we said it yesterday, but it bears repeating again today, how huge of a day it was for Beth Mowins yesterday, giving a commencement speech at her alma mater at Lafayette College, and then that was in the afternoon, and then at night hosting the coverage of 7 innings.
Just can't stop, won't stop.
She does it all, folks.
Yeah, it's mayhem. She's not going to not participate in mayhem.
I thought she had a great message too in her speech. That was to go out and basically make an impact. And that is such a strong message coming from Beth, who is the ultimate trailblazer, covering so many different sports. She said, "Don't walk quietly through this life, make some noise." 1-2-3 inning for Sophie Kleiman, the first 1-2-3 inning of the game. 2-0 Lady Vols after.
Again. And what's really impressive is they've done it with an extremely young roster. Young lineup today. You have Cora Bassett, who's a senior that leads off, but then you have freshman, sophomore, 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 freshman, freshman, sophomore, and then a junior at the bottom. It's incredible.
And your 2 best pitchers, Copeland and Johnson, both sophomores. Meanwhile, the core, especially in the circle of the Northwestern team that's been atop that league the last couple of years, I believe this is the last year of eligibility for Danielle Williams, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a huge reason that you can point to for why Northwestern was able to come back against Indiana in that Big Ten tournament. It was a senior class that's loaded with experience. They went to the Women's College World Series last year. They know what it's like to play in those big time moments. Indiana, a young team on the other hand, that hadn't been in that spotlight before. A little different.
High fly as West retreats to the warning track, squares her body to the infield, makes the catch on Stone, who with one swing can make a big difference in a game. 3 hits apiece, but 2 runs on the board for Tennessee. And in a winner-take-all Game 7 right now in the Evanston Regional, Miami, Ohio, for the Mid-American Conference, up 4-3 against Northwestern. And Danielle Williams has come on in relief in that game to pitch, trying to see if she can work magic again with that changeup that has worked so well over so many games.
Wow, I just don't know if a lot can surprise me anymore that's happening in this tournament.
Quickly 0-2 to Copeland. And she strikes out swinging. Gottschall's 3rd strikeout as she tries to match a 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Yeah, 3 really nice pitches from Peyton Gottschall. Like how she inched this one further out than the last one against Copeland, makes her chase on a ball that's sinking away. Really nice run by Peyton Gottschall.
Feeling more settled here. She's only thrown 7 pitches in the inning, gotten 2 outs. Avery Parker calls time.
They're going to call an illegal pitch on Peyton Gottschall because she took her hand out of her glove. This is the 2nd time we've seen that today.
Is this the most you've seen non-lifted foot illegal pitches called this year?
Yeah, I think that's the 3rd time that we've seen it this weekend. Kind of stuck in between calling for time and thinking about throwing that next pitch, and as soon as you take your hand out of your glove, they're going to call an illegal pitch on you. So as soon as you put your hand in your glove, it starts your pitching motion.
And for the umpires, that's the job. You see a rules violation, you call it, and you don't get to the postseason unless you're one of the best in the NCAA.
Yeah, they've been all over it.
Gottschall in the first 27 pitches, in the second 25, and here in the 3rd, quite a tidy inning. 11 pitches as she gets her first 1-2-3 frame. 3 in the books, 2-0, and Karen Weekly, the head coach of the Lady Vols, joins us now. Well, you get a team that is trying to knock you off and force Game 7, and a pitcher who hasn't pitched in over a month. You're going to prepare for everybody. What's it like for your pitchers, or for your hitters, to face somebody they haven't seen and who hasn't been in the circle in a while?
You know, we talk a lot about you're not going to see anything in postseason you didn't see in the SEC. So not making too big of a deal out of the fact that you haven't seen this particular pitcher. And just trusting your eyes, trusting your preparation, trusting what you've done all season.
Speaking of pitchers and trusting themselves, Peyton Gottschall got herself out of a couple big-time jams there. What did you see from her performance with the bases loaded twice?
Oh, she's at her best when things get like that. I mean, she loves that moment, and she gets even more fired up. I think I'd like to see her go a little bit more like that when there's nobody on base. And she did that last inning. I think she just wasn't attacking the zone. It's rare that Peyton's out there pitching and you're not getting some called strikes early on or some swings on the first pitch. So we just talked about staying on the attack, finding your target, and trusting your spin.
Thanks, Karen. We always appreciate the time.
Thank you.
And Tennessee is the road team here in this game, so if the score were to stay in their favor, Indiana would have the last chance at it. Tennessee with a win, hosts Texas here next weekend, times TBD. And if Indiana wins, I believe as the things have gone this weekend, we'd be the only Game 7 tomorrow, right?
That's correct so far.
First pitch swinging, bouncer to short, and Benson takes care of Boutte. That's just one pitch, and Sophie Kleiman has faced 5 batters, retired them all, doing her best Heather Johnson impression from Game 1, and Boutte is down beyond the first base bag.
Yeah, right away after Boutte hit first base, went down to the ground pretty quickly. Seems like she's in quite a bit of pain as she tries to walk that one off.
That seemed to come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Seems to be able to walk back by herself into the dugout, and I'm sure the trainers are going to check on her and see what's up. Sometimes you just get some weird tweaks when you land funny. It takes a minute and kind of have to shake it off, but we'll wait to see if we get Larry Boutte back out on the field in the bottom half of this inning.
So we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. Went out and the base is empty for Katsoyanopoulos. Every coach, I think in every league in America says it, there's no easy weekend in the blank, which is true because you're playing your direct level of competition. But it certainly rings most true for the SEC, which is every year going to send the most teams with the way that it has transpired over the last several years to the NCAA tournament. And you really do see so many different styles of play. 2 ground ball outs here, and now you're seeing a trend. 6 batters retired by Kleiman, 1 strikeout, 5 ground ball outs.
A little bit different than what we saw at the beginning of this ball game with the lefty Johnson. 3 outs in the air for Tennessee and a home run. They were elevating those pitches a little bit more. Obviously, a little bit different of bite coming from Kleiman.
Hindsight is 20/20, but with the way Johnson pitched in the previous game against Louisville, a no-brainer to start her in this game.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it was obvious. She was on a roll. She went a perfect 5 innings in that ball game against Louisville. You want to keep and continue to let those pitchers ride the momentum, but you just never know how you're going to match up with the different offense. The style of swings that Tennessee puts on obviously favored Heather Johnson as opposed to Kleiman, who we're seeing here so far.
You know what else is great, too? A decisive strike call. Terry Holt has that down.
You know right away. There's no hesitation. There's no doubting the call or not. It's clear. Yeah, we do love that.
I mean, isn't that all we ever want in life? Certainty. Pitchers certainly want it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we talk about the strike zone all the time for these umpires, and it's a difficult job. Like, you ask anybody, player, coach, fan, it is a hard thing to do behind the plate. And not a lot of people want to do it. So respect for the men and women who set themselves up for that role. You see the ring up right there. That decisive call, strike 3, freshman Kleiman.
Shonda Stanton visits with us next. It's always a pleasure to chat with Shonda Stanton. And we were talking about your pitchers. Heather Johnson was on an absolute tear to help you win against Louisville. She starts here, but Sophie Kleiman has really just picked up where Heather left off.
Mike, did you hear her walkout song? It's Ace in the Pocket. I've been with her all year and I haven't heard it. She has nailed it. I love how her freshies competing. I love how her team's competing. We missed a couple opportunities early, a base running mistake. Just aren't getting the Hoosier up hit. When we have bases loaded, we got the Ducks on the pond. I want to get them in. But I'm proud of our group and how we're competing.
What kind of conversations are you guys having in the dugout on how to handle Peyton Gottschall, a really spinny, effective pitcher?
Yeah, we got to adjust our mirrors. For some, it's laying off the up pitch. Some, when you miss, you're either out in front early or you're out and around. And so we have a good game plan. Adjust your mirrors individually, and let's get the job done offensively. We're a team that believes in our offense. That's our identity, and I want to see us get the job done. But again, keep shooting our shots. It's going to fall. I felt like Kearns might have got extended a little bit, but I'll have to take a look at that later on film.
You have a very responsive dugout, quick turnaround time. Who's the artist in residence that's drawn the Kool-Aid man there?
That's my husband. He's up there pounding the stands too, enjoying it. I appreciate my family coming out and really appreciate all Hoosier Nation. Everybody's behind this group. Team 50 special. Gotta love it.
What a talented family, Shonda. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Go IU.
So if you weren't with us earlier, that was when Indiana played Louisville earlier today, an elimination game. She wanted them to have an oh yeah mentality, and who embodies that better than a giant glass pitcher of Kool-Aid who breaks through brick walls and goes, oh yeah.
It's so, when you talk to Coach Stan, she has so many examples and use of language that from the outside looking in, I'm like, man, I gotta keep up. How am I gonna take off? Okay, she's talking about mirrors. She's talking about, oh yeah, like who's you're hitting. Like it's a lot to take in, but you can just tell the messaging to these players, using examples and different ways to think about how we hit, how we play, our mentality. So it's not necessarily simple, I fail, I exceed, but just this broad spectrum of expanding your mind to think differently about the game.
Another decisive strike three call. Peyton Gottschall's fourth strikeout. She has set down the last 6.
Another one looking to inside corner, curveball, low in the zone. Nice job by Katsoyanopoulos to frame this thing up and hold that for the strike. It's a nice little head nod and say, yep, you got it there.
Well, that's something.
Lady Vol Locos never disappoint. It's a good thing they're in the back row because people would be really upset if those giant cowboy hats were sitting in the first few rows of the stands. Nobody would be able to see the game.
I don't really refresh my wardrobe very often. I'm very happy in a t-shirt and the basketball shorts. So I have not the slightest clue where you would buy that getup.
See, they were the Flintstones earlier this week.
Right.
I've seen them be Dolly Parton. Obviously, they have so many. Can you remember what they were in the previous games, other than the Flintstones?
There was some type of getup with aprons.
Oh,
right?
That's right, the aprons yesterday. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you go on Amazon, right, and you just type in giant orange hat. I don't know.
I guess.
And how does it ship? That's got to be a huge box, right? Or is it like one of those mattresses that you buy, and it's all compressed, and then you open it up, and you're never getting it back in the package again?
Leave out for 24 hours.
Leave giant orange hat out for 24 hours. You also get deputized into law enforcement with that hat, too. Along with Kayla Bro, Mike Cousins with you here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Lots of enthusiasm in the stands. And Indiana, for the first time since the second inning, will bring the tying run to the plate. They left the bases loaded in the first and the second. And just letting bat meet ball there. Kinsey Mitchell drops it into shallow left center field.
Second time Kinsey Mitchell has been aboard today. Had a nice bunt, then a little slap right there, showing off the short game.
Last time they asked Brooke Benson to lay down a sacrifice bunt. She was successful in that effort, and here swings away a foul ball.
little drag bunt that Brooke Benson put down in the Louisville game ended up being all that they would need to get the W. This time of year, there's so much about execution and making sure that you're the team that doesn't make that last mistake. And unfortunately for Louisville, misplayed that ball and 2 runs for Indiana and eventually the lead in the W.
That type of play is just emblematic of the multitude of emotions that take place over the course of 3 days during a regional. As you have Louisville players whose careers ended in that game and a one that they led for most of the game. And it comes down to a play that looks so simple, and yet it really isn't. 2-run score, they take the lead, and they don't look back.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaker for Louisville, who, again, had control of that ball game all day long. Scored a run in the second. Runs in the second. Crickets from Indiana offense until the 6th inning. They scored 1, followed up with 2 in the 7th. Excuse me, 3 in the 7th.
4-2 final score. So they go from looking at, goodness, our season might be over, to, hey, we got to get ready for the number 4 national seed who beat us earlier this weekend.
And on the other side of things, just the harsh reality for Louisville, you're thinking, oh man, we got to get ready. We're going to go play Tennessee. Can't wait for game 2 today. And then all of a sudden, how quickly the tables turn and you're on the bus and you're heading home. It's what makes this postseason and this time of year so good, but just so heartbreaking too for these players.
Swing and a miss on a 2-2 pitch. Kotchel delivers a gem, 5th strikeout.
Yeah, Karen Weekly's not wrong, man. When Peyton Gottschall gets runners aboard, if she gives up a hit, she's so much tougher on the next at-bat. This is a filthy pitch. Nice rise ball, really, really good spin on the upper half of the zone. You know, looking at this Tennessee team, and again, there's a long way to go. We got a lot of ball left to play in this ball game, but I have just been so impressed with the resilience that they have. Yesterday when they played Indiana, Taryn Kern gets up in the top of the 1st inning, hits a home run off of Ashley Rogers, and in the bottom half of that inning, Kiki Malloy, first AB, comes out ready to go, get her pitchers back, and answers with a home run herself in her first at-bat of the game. And that's what you want to see. How do you respond to adversity? How do you respond to giving up a hit, to your team giving up a run? And this Tennessee team answers. And that's a reason why they're obviously sitting here as the 4 seed, that gritty determination, but also a reason why I think if they're able to get out of this regional and beat Indiana today, they've got a really great shot at going to the Women's College World Series because they are competitive.
Bassett here in the leadoff spot on the weekend is 2 of 10 at the plate. Trying to keep this inning alive for a Hoosiers team that has stranded 6. And she just gets a piece of that. An uncomfortable looking swing for Bassett. Gottschall has struck out 5, and Bassett stays alive again. Indiana out-hitting Tennessee 4-3. The gap on the scoreboard, the second at-bat of the game, Zeta Pooney, a home run to the bleachers and right. Swing and a miss, strike 3. The inning is over. 3 Ks in the frame. Presented by Evo's Shield, the TaxAct Clearwater Invitational. Indiana 0-5 in Clearwater this year. But hey, that was Texas in 2022. They went to the Women's College World Series. The Hoosiers are 2 wins away from going to Supers. Trouble is, Tennessee's only 1 win away from doing that. And they would face Texas here at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium next weekend if they hang on to win this game. This has not been the offensive surge of Friday and Saturday from Tennessee. It represents the urgency from Indiana on the other side. Day one, it was a 12-0 win over the number 4 seed here in the regional. Northern Kentucky, their first trip to the NCAA tournament as a Division I program after they won the Horizon League tournament. And then a 9-1 win against Indiana in game 2 for Tennessee. Line drive out to right, and it's Bassett on the move. She gets over there to make the catch for the first out. And that retires Taylor. And let's see what happens here as Kiki Malloy comes up. She hasn't registered an at-bat in this game, despite standing in the right-hand batter's box twice, Kayla.
Yeah, a couple of walks, a stolen base, and then obviously setting Zeta Pooney up for the opportunity to hit a home run with a runner on board. I mean, that's going to be potentially her biggest value today, is if she is patient enough to get aboard. Let's put the bat in the hands of Zeta Pooney and McKenna Gibson, try and get some runs across. Won't be surprised at all if we see her try and steal another base to push herself into scoring position, just to give this Tennessee team and Peyton Gottschall some insurance runs.
You can't overlook that this is a freshman in the circle right now, Sophie Kleiman, who has set down all 8 batters she's faced. And in game 1 today against Louisville, you had Heather Johnson, a sophomore, retire 15 batters in a row to finish off the game. So they have gotten great pitching, keeping themselves in games. It worked in game 1, and they just need the offense to come through here in game 2.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, this Tennessee team has hit the ball pretty hard off of her, but right at people, and she's trusting herself enough to let her defense help her out behind her. That last line out from Katie Taylor is a perfect example. And they're throwing to Kiki Malloy. 3-2 count. Being careful painting the corners. She's not missing over the middle of the plate, but it's not a straight walk, 4 pitches.
And Malloy sticks it down the right field line. She's got a base hit. She takes the turn at second. The relay throw is way late. She is in the third, standing up with a triple.
This is a beautiful piece of hitting by Kiki Malloy. We know that she's got power, but how about the barrel control right here? Pitch on the very outside corner. She lets it travel deep, drives it down the line, and you know as soon as this gets to the corner of the field, she's picking up 3 on that one, and she's getting fired up.
There's not much she hasn't done at this point in the year. Nobody in Division I has hit more home runs than she has, but that was her first triple. And here she comes to make it 3-0 Lady Vols on a wild pitch.
Kiki Malloy is a game changer. The freshman gets a little bit wild on that last pitch, but Kiki Malloy sets that up with the triple and the use of her speed. You see, drop ball that Avery Parker behind the dish can't handle. Too much bounce. It's way too far out in front of first base, and that's another easy run. And another run. How about that, Tennessee? Zeta Pooney, 3rd home run. 4th home run of the weekend. It's the 2nd time this weekend that we've seen her hit 2 runs in 1 ball game. Down and in. Look at her open up her front side. She knows off the bat that this one's gone, but I love this swing. Hip rotation, barrel angle, extension, all perfect to drive this ball out of the park. Again, and go back to Kiki Malloy's at bat. This is a team that had been struggling, hadn't figured out climbing. And Kiki Malloy steps in the box and says, hey, I'm changing this ball game. 2nd time we're seeing her make an adjustment, attack the ball. Zeta Booney follows it up with an even bigger mash.
One out for Boo Gibson. You ever have a situation where you're driving on the highway? You thought you checked all your mirrors, looked over your shoulder, you try to merge lanes, and all of a sudden there's a car there and you didn't see it, and you swerve back into your lane,
Yeah, you
and
get that blind spot.
your adrenaline just surges into your body. Somewhat like here, right? You just gave up a triple, wild pitch to score a run, and a home run. This is only a 4-0 game. This is not out of reach for Indiana, but it can spiral quickly because of how good this lineup is.
I think, too, as an offense like Tennessee's, they feed off of each other. I've seen so many times this year where one big hit turns everything around, and they go up and they take their performances up a notch. I say so many times, old cliche, hitting is contagious, but it is so true. When Kiki Malloy shows that he can hit this player, if you can hit this pitcher, gives confidence for Zeta Booney to do it. You see a pitcher that's scared to throw to you, back on her heels a little bit. You sense that fear and hesitation, and you just start to attack. And that's what Tennessee recognizes in the box.
And they have not chipped away this weekend. In game one, they scored 1 run in the first inning, and then in the third and fourth, they combined to score 11 runs, and the game was over in the blink of an eye against Northern Kentucky. Against Indiana yesterday, they only scored in 3 innings. 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 4 in the fourth. Big innings for Tennessee.
And they've been doing that all season. Think about some of their series this season, the Florida series, they just went off offensively.
Gibson keeps it rolling. A chopper up the middle. 3 straight base hits after Taylor was retired here to start the UT fifth.
And that's something that Karen Weekly really said was that was what the difference was for this season's team and this offense is their ability to pass the bat down. It's the 3rd hit in a row for the top of this Tennessee lineup, passing the bat down. And it's always someone new. Somebody new steps up every single week. This weekend, Zeta Booney has gone off with the 4 home runs. But 1 through 9, you can go look at a weekend, a series, and you can go circle somebody's name and say, oh, they really stepped up this weekend. They had a fantastic weekend. They don't rely on 1 to 2 hitters, and that's what makes them dangerous, and that's why you've seen consistency throughout the season. That's why they won every single SEC series except for 1, and it's why they're the number 4 seed, is when you don't rely on a couple hitters to be those big-time run producers. If they slump, you're okay because you got more in the back pocket.
That's to the gap, right center field, down for a base hit. Gibson goes first to third. Ball is dropped behind second base by Benson, but she recovers quickly. No further advance from Tennessee. First and third, West with her first hit of the day.
Yeah, Riley West, again, another hit, 4th in a row for this Tennessee team. Really nice job going inside out on this swing, finds the gap. Cora Bassett tries to get it in quickly, stumbles a little bit out in the outfield.
They had 2 arms going in the bullpen. Kleiman came in, retired the first 8 batters she faced. And then second time through the lineup, that's where it got dicey. Mackenzie Donahue takes ball 1. These are players who have been here before. Donahue 2 years ago with Oklahoma on the All-Women's College World Series team. Kleiman in the circle is a freshman. 4-0 Tennessee, but they are threatening for more here in the 5th.
I think you can see, too, the adjustment that Tennessee has made. Mentioned a lot of ground ball outs. first time that they faced Kleiman, 4 or 5 ground ball outs. And now you're seeing the ball elevated a little bit more. You're seeing them get behind and under the ball, so they're picking up the spin from Kleiman, and they're changing their bat path to hit that gapper, to hit that home run, to hit that really hard line drive down the line, instead of being maybe a little bit out in front and topping the ball. See, the defense is ready for that first and third situation as well. Riley West can move a little bit over on first base. The corners really far in for Indiana, and the middles are starting to push up the middle. Now with 2 strikes, they've changed, started to back up a little bit. Now the corners are back. They're not expecting a bunt anymore.
That's ball 4. Bases are loaded. Now, like the rumbling of thunderclouds signals a storm, you get the feeling a pitching change might be coming for Indiana as this offense has started brewing here.
And the crowd's starting to feel the energy, and they remember Lair.
And Lair Boutte is the batter. Tatum Hayes goes out to right field for the Hoosiers. Defensive shifts, yes, but the focus is at the plate.
This is an eerily similar situation that we saw in yesterday's game, Tennessee versus Indiana. 4-run lead, bases loaded. Riley West hit that grand slam to give the Lady Vols that 8-run lead.
1-1 down the line, tailing foul. And it's 1-2 on Boutte. Good to see that she's okay after she was a little bit slow to get up after her last plate appearance when she grounded out, ran through the first base bag. Looked like her ankle was bothering her, but she's right back to it. Fly ball center field. Mitchell drifting back. She's under it. She's there to make the catch. Gibson tags from third. Sacrifice fly. Lair Boutte. Gibson's run is the 5th of the night. Tennessee extends its lead here in the 5th.
Yeah, and Tennessee will take that every single time. Lair Boutte not finishing her swing, just trying to get this ball hard enough and deep enough to score. McKenna Gibson over at third. Little insurance run on for the Vols here in the 5th.
Catcher for the Lady Vols, number 27, Julia Castoyanopoulos.
Only one team this weekend, and since 2018, has ruled their way to a 3-0 start in the postseason. Not out of the question here for the Lady Vols now, as that ball got away from Parker. Everybody's up a base. West over to third, Donahue into second. Passed ball charged to Avery Parker behind the plate. Julia Katsoyanopoulos 0 for 2. She's lined to center, grounded out to second. One-one, grounder, third base and through. 1-1 is in. Tennessee trying to make it 2, and the throw at the plate bounces away. Donahue scores. Katsoyanopoulos safe at second. Touchdown and the extra point for the Lady Vols. It's 7-0 Tennessee.
Finding a way to get the job done. This Lady Vols team continues to pound offensively. Ground ball to the 5-6 hole on the outside pitch. Katsoyanopoulos knows that this is going to be 1 for sure, possibly 2. Mackenzie Donahue wheels around, and this would have been a close play, but Avery Parker behind the dish, not able to hang on to that. I mean, what a difference for this Lady Vols.
Go in from left field. And now Jamison Brackenbrough is the only Tennessee player who has not come to the plate here in the inning. And if she drives in Kutsoyanopoulos, that puts Indiana down to its final 3 outs in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Copeland, a hard thrower. And that ball out of play. Strike 3 called, and the inning is over. Copeland gets the job done.
Up levels, and you never saw her miss over the heart of the plate. Everything was corners and out.
A half inning ago it was 2-0 Tennessee. The reach a lot longer here now for Indiana. They try and force a game 7 tomorrow as they trail 7-0, bottom of the 5th. Kern, Minnick, Stone, all due up here in the Indiana 5th. Good news for them is they get the last chance at it as the home team here in game number 6 of the weekend.
You know, it's interesting to see how quickly things changed in this game, and it kind of reminded me, and I'm not saying, everybody relax out there, I'm not comparing this Tennessee team to Oklahoma, but it felt like an Oklahoma Sooner inning where 1 through 9, it was just constant pressure, really aggressive ABs.
Kern skies that out to left. West waiting for it. And Taryn Kern, she did walk her first time up, struck out, and now has flied out.
Yeah, but this Tennessee team and their offense specifically just has that confidence and feeling of dominance. When it clicks for them, it is so scary and so dangerous, and that's exactly what you see from Oklahoma almost every single game.
And you said it earlier, there was only one team that beat them in a series in the regular season, and that team is out of the postseason. The Arkansas Razorbacks eliminated by Oregon as the Ducks get their revenge on the team that eliminated them last year. 2 gone here in the 5th.
Yeah, in a big way. I mean, they run-ruled Arkansas, put up a 14 spot on the Razorbacks at home. That's so tough to do. That's a tough environment to be in, but credit Oregon Ducks and Ariel Carlson with that grand slam to finish the ball game. A local kid born and raised in Eugene and Oregon. It's pretty cool to see kids like that coming through.
An alum of the prestigious, world-renowned Caleb Rowe Hitting Academy. They talk about that in Australia, New Zealand, all over the world.
Hey, I'm proud. I coached her in high school, so.
Would you have imagined a start to the postseason in which Tennessee only used 2 pitchers?
Honestly, no. I mean, I think in a perfect world, they would have gotten Carlin Pickens in, and we might still see her to get her some postseason experience under her belt. She had a shaky start at the SEC tournament against Alabama and hasn't been the same since about the halfway point of SEC play. First 12 ball games of the year that Carlin Pickens made an appearance, she allowed 3 earned runs. I mean, she was ridiculous. Her next 12 appearances, 24 earned runs. So again, for Karen Weekly, 7-run lead. Might be nice to get her a couple innings and just see what it's like to throw in this environment in the postseason.
Before the stakes raise next weekend, if the Vols win this game, hosting Texas here. It's off the glove of Boutte into right center field. That's a base hit for Sarah Stone, who's got 2 of the 5 Indiana hits, hoping to start something bottom 5 with 2 away.
Yeah, she's been on Peyton Gottschall today. Even her fly out was a pretty decently hit ball. Line drive that Larry Boutte doesn't quite time up Bergley. So close off the tip of the glove. Would have been a ridiculous play.
Stone out here, as they pinch run for her. And they use L. Smith as the pinch runner at first. 2 down, and Copeland coming up 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks.
Pinch running for the Hoosiers on first, number 43, L. Smith.
I think there's something to that idea to put Pickens in here
Now batting for Indiana, the pitcher number 16.
at some point,
Copeland.
because next week there's no room for error.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at Texas and the talented team and the offense that Texas has, you're going to need to have her ready to go.
Copeland on one swing ends the inning. And Gottschall is through 5. 7-0 Tennessee, who are moving on. So if Tennessee wins it, they will host Texas best 2 out of 3 here next weekend for a trip to the Women's College World Series. And Tennessee, up 7-0, is just a couple innings away from getting to Supers for the first time since 2019. And they start off the 6th with a base hit. Katie Taylor's first of the night. Twice today, Kiki Malloy has walked. Last time they pitched to her, she tripled and then scored on a wild pitch. How do they handle her here?
Not to mention that Zeta Pooney behind her has the 2 home runs.
And 4 on the weekend.
This is really just a no-win situation for Indiana when you talk about decision-making. And credit to Zeta Pooney, who understands what it means to hit behind Kiki Malloy and how important it is to pull your weight and protect her and hitting those 2 home runs. Now, moving forward, if Tennessee completes the W in this game, they go play Texas next weekend. Now Texas is really going to have to contemplate what they're going to do, because it's not just Kiki that's going to hurt you. It's Zeta, it's McKenna Gibson, it's Riley West. You go down the line, and tremendous amount of power hitters. Woo! Woo!
Ball 4. So first and second for Zeta Pooney, who has been pulverizing pitchers here in this regional.
That's a great word, because she's absolutely been pulverizing the ball. I love the angle of her barrel on that swing. Just lets the ball get deep, and then the adjustment to turn on this one picks up that it's going to be an inside low pitch really, really quickly, and the reaction and the quickness of her hips and hands to be able to get to that inside pitch is really, really good. And I've been saying this since Zeta Pooney came over from Oklahoma, the transfer a couple years ago. She has got just such a sweet swing. Obviously strong, but really smooth, has a good approach at the plate, and showing it off here in the postseason. Our coworker, Madison Shipman, a former Tennessee Lady Vol, you know, her and I, now that we're no longer playing in opposing uniforms, love to talk shop, talk the game back and forth. And we text constantly about the game, about hitters, and Zeta Pooney was one of those that came up as soon as she swung for the first few times in that Lady Vol uniforms. We both remember texting and thinking, oh dang, this girl, tons of potential, beautiful swing, and just a perfect example of the positive effects of the transfer portal, both for her and for Tennessee. I mean, OU obviously has a wealth of talent, hitters, just incredible 1 through 9 like this Tennessee team, but she fit this program and what they needed. They needed a lockdown third baseman, and they needed a power hitter in the middle of their lineup, and Pooney fit that perfectly.
Gibson grounded to short. Benson to a knee, flips it over to Bassett at third. And they get the out there, 2 away. Gibson reaches on the fielder's choice. So Pooney flied out. There were a couple of fans here who oohed and awed, even on a routine fly ball out there to right center field, just in anticipation of what might come. The NCAA tournament single game record is 3 home runs. So she's not the first to hit 2 in a game. It's happened multiple times over the course of this weekend, but 3 home runs has only ever happened 5 times. And it hasn't happened since Jessie Harper at Arizona did it back in 2019. They've got Malloy at second. Taylor was just the second out over at third. Gibson at first for Riley West. Singled and scored. Part of that 5-run Tennessee fifth. Another team just punching its ticket to Super Regionals, the Northwestern Wildcats. Got everything they could handle from Miami, Ohio, playing in a regional final for the first time. The Red Hawks fall 5-4. They had the bases loaded in the 7th, and Stanford is in as well as they go past Florida. And that's a team that we're seeing good pitching here. They have excellent pitching as well.
Nyesha Kennedy, I watched her pitch against Florida in yesterday's ball game, not today's, but you know, we had other games to be watching today.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Bringing the heat. I mean, so impressive. Really looking forward. I love this time of year. Let's go. Weekly in the Lady Vols to give the freshmen some opportunity to throw in a lower pressure situation, but get that postseason experience in the NCAA tournament. 9-6 on the season. She got off to a really hot start at the beginning of the year. She throws with excellent velocity. We're talking about elite velocity, up in the low 70s, 72 to 74.
1 pitch, 1 out for Pickens, who records an out for the first time in 14 days. When she pitched in the SEC tournament against Alabama, did not retire a batter, gave up 4 runs. And so her last outing in which she recorded an out was the 7th of this month against South Carolina. And she's just got to get 6 of them here.
And look at that, 75 on the gun. She brings some serious heat. And we talked to Karen Weekly this week, and how did she bounce back from some of her worst performances of the season in the last few weeks. And one of the biggest things that she said that she really wanted to work on was her pre-game warm-up. She was throwing a little bit too many pitches during her warm-up. And Karen talked about, you know, they do a lot of testing and assessment of, you know, someone's tendencies mentally. And her tendency mentally, she's got a very active brain, constantly thinking, constantly working. And when she spent too long in the bullpen prior to the game, she started to overthink her pitches and over-examine what she was throwing and put too much thought into her spin and movement and location, and she just needed to have a little bit clearer of a mind. So I think it'll be interesting to see with those adjustments, the difference in what she looks like here out in the circle today, shortening up her preparation in her bullpen.
Fewer pitches pregame, less feedback. Fifth player of the year at Tennessee to win the SEC Freshman of the Year, the first since Kaylin Arnold back in 2017. In that outing against Alabama in the SEC tournament, only 21 pitches, but she walked 3 in addition to giving up those 4 runs. She goes 3-2 here on Cassidy Kettleman. And then comes back and induces weak contact. 2 outs, and neither ball traveled more than about 50 feet.
If you can get Carlin Pickens in the right state of mind and continue to improve upon that warm-up and that mental approach in the circle, I mean, what you're getting is a completely dynamic pitcher that throws 3 speeds that can offset what Ashley Rogers and Peyton Gottschall do. And when you think about her opportunity and potentially having to go against Texas next weekend, they are an offensive-minded team. 6 hitters above 300 in the Texas lineup. A lot of good young superstars. Mia Scott, Viv Martinez is having a breakout freshman year. Leanne Good. Reese Atwood, another one. I mean, these are players that can hit, and not to mention Ashton Maloney leads the team with 393 average. So when you think about a Texas team that's hitting 329 as a team, you're going to need all the depth in the circle that you can get. And somebody that is hitting 72, 74 miles an hour consistently on the radar gun. Could be a really nice asset to have.
Into the glove of Pooney at third. A 9-pitch, bottom of the 6th for Carlin Pickens. 1 inning to play and a 7
home runs. And with Kiki Malloy and her versatility as an athlete and able to get on base and steal bases, to have Zeta Pooney as that rock behind her that can come through in a big way, it's just huge.
That brings the weekend's total to 18 home runs in the regional. Tennessee, not surprisingly, that most of those, the plurality belonging to the Lady Vols, 8 out of 18. 6 from Louisville, 3 from Indiana, and the only run that Northern Kentucky scored, their first postseason run as a Division I tournament team, was a home run from Brielle DeMemo.
You'll think back about this regional, and you're listening to all those teams in the home run power. We knew this was going to be an awesome regional. We were so excited to be able to get to come here to Knoxville this weekend. But not only is there an incredible amount of talent on the field, and it's been so fun to watch some of these big-time hitters, big-time pitchers, players, but getting to know some of them off the field, getting to know their coaches. It's been just so fun to see young women that are dominant athletes, but also well-spoken, intelligent, fun, creative. I mean, you can tell why these young women are so successful on the field. It's because they're successful off the field.
We have biology majors, nursing majors, accounting majors. The SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, Ashley Rogers for Tennessee. Truly a really impressive group here, and worth noting as well, because it's not always the case in any women's sport where you have every head coach here in this group who's a woman. One-two to Butte, check swing, and she holds up, 2-2.
That was close. Bree Copeland and this Indiana team wanted that.
And there's that third strike.
And back-to-back strikeouts for Bree Copeland. You know, thinking about this Indiana team and how well they've done, not only in this regional, but over the course of this season. We mentioned Clearwater going 0-5, outscored by their opponents 43-4. I think a lot of people wrote them off, didn't have high expectations for them in the entirety of the season, but also in Big Ten play. And for them to be the leaders in so many categories in Big Ten play, really impressive.
Copeland does the job. 1-2-3. Last hacks for the Hoosiers. Deficit is 7. More than those who were in the dugout this year, for the players who came before them, who played on fields that were in substandard conditions, in games where not a lot of people were watching, to help this program get to this moment. And you just think back to Taryn Kern setting the program home run record this year that had stood since the 90s. And what did she do when she set the record that had stood for 29 years? Well, she FaceTimed with Michelle Venturella, who held that record, because the predecessors are happy for the players in the present. And that's what this season is going to be. Yes, the postseason, first time since 2011, but you're building on so much more that had started before these players were born.
You have to pay so much respect for the players that laid the foundation the players that you were talking about that were playing in substandard field conditions, that were probably in local parks, that didn't have practice facilities or locker rooms. Women had to blaze the trails so that we can be in these amazing facilities with all of this TV coverage, this incredible gear, all of the data that can support you, these incredible coaches. There had to be a process to get to this point, so you honor that. But then you're like Taryn Kern, right? You honor it, and then you go beat all those records. You make your own mark, and you continue to build up this program. And this Indiana team has never quit this entire season. They have so much fight in them, and here they are in the bottom of the 7th, down 7 runs, and get 2 back-to-back hits. Cora Bassett follows it up with a ground ball in the 5-6 hole. Again, this offense has carried them. This offense is going to keep fighting here in the 7th inning with outs left on the board.
And Kotsoyanopoulos goes out to talk to Pickens because Taryn Kern is coming up. She's hitless today. That doesn't mean much, as her track record speaks for itself. And the Hoosiers had 2 hits in the last 4 innings, and now they put together back-to-back base hits here in the 7th with their season on the line. Tennessee wins. They host Texas next weekend in Supers. Indiana wins, and there's a Game 7 here tomorrow. Taryn Kern sitting on 23 home runs. That's the 2nd most in the country. And in retrospect, her goal almost seems comically modest. When she came into the year, saying her preseason home run goal was 8. She's almost tripled it.
Yeah, it was so fun talking to her because obviously she's an incredibly confident kid, a very cerebral hitter, really beautiful swing from the left side, and it's cool to see her set goals but then exceeded them. And when she came back after winter break in January, her word that she focused on to define her was limitless.
And Shauna Stanton coming down from the third base coach's box, battling to the very end here. She was not happy with that strike call.
Yeah, and the frustration lies in the fact that that was an almost identical pitch to the one that Carlin Pickens threw that he called a ball on Taryn Kern earlier in this at-bat. And you can tell the fans are a little bit frustrated. The biggest thing that anybody wants on the field is some consistency. And again, that low pitch on the outside corner wasn't called earlier in the AB, and that's where she's upset.
So Pickens gets the call at the bottom of the zone, 2-1. It's a loud strike, too.
It'll wake you up.
And in a 7-0 game with 3 outs to get, it's an amazing crowd behind Pickens in Tennessee right now.
Yeah, look at, here's the changeup, elevated changeup, not clipping the top corner, excuse me, the top part of the strike zone, according to the umpire behind the plate. Good AB right here as these 2 incredible freshmen continue to battle. Freshman of the year in the Big Ten and freshman of the year in the SEC. Coming up on the 10th pitch of this at-bat. You just love to see the fight. Both of these players, Carlin Pickens, just trying to get some confidence built up. First postseason experience. Taryn Kern, the freshman, doesn't want her season to end.
And she's fouled off 5 two-strike pitches, taking the best that Pickens has to offer.
She's got a little bit of a smirk on her face too. She knows she's locked in right here.
Might be 7-0, but it doesn't feel like it in this battle between these two freshmen. And the 3-2 misses. Ball 4, and Indiana has loaded the bases in the last of the 7th.
I think Karen Weekly.
She's asking, where was it?
Yeah, asking where was it, and agrees with the crowd that is very against this call. I mean, that's a strike. Top of the zone, a little bit outside, but that's a strike.
First pitch swinging. Ball to third. Indiana is on the board as Minnick grounds out. And Benson scores 7-1, Tennessee. Runners at second and third for the Hoosiers. Bassett at third and Kern is at second.
It's a big out right there for the freshman. Carlin Pickens in a really deep battle with Taryn Kern. A little bit fatigued, probably mentally, facing off such a good hitter like that, and then to be able to get one pitch, one out on the next AB. Without a doubt, helps a lot. How about that pitch? 58 miles an hour. That's what we're talking about. This is what is so difficult about hitting Carlin Pickens, and she's had her challenges late in the season. Not as sharp in control with her fast stuff, but that changeup is the equalizer, man. 58 miles an hour and then 75. And there she goes, throws it back to back. And you know, this is a good learning opportunity for her too, because the zone's really tight, so she's got to be perfect right now. And again, you don't like that as a player, you don't want that, but the learning opportunities for growth, for her to have to elevate her game, really, really tighten up those pitches, really work on her spin to induce some outs and not rely on the strikeout. Important opportunities to really take advantage of, and I know it sounds funny, but take advantage of adversity.
Stones get a couple of hits today. 1 and 2 as Pickens has slowed it down against this power hitter in the cleanup spot.
And look, like, you got to recognize there's very few pitchers in this game that can throw 74, 75 miles an hour. That's coming at you really quick for an umpire. So we're quick to be really, really hard on an umpire behind the plate, but these pitchers are throwing a lot harder than they used to.
That was too fast for everybody behind the plate. Gets away from Katsoyanopoulos. Bassett scores 7-2 on a wild pitch from Pickens.
Yeah, this is where Carlin Pickens gets into trouble. Her velocity is too much. Katsoyanopoulos has no opportunity to try and field this ball. Yeah, that's just a pitch that you can't expect a first-year catcher to try and field.
Slow roller first base. Kern hangs at third. Gibson records the second out, and the Hoosiers have one to work with.
Yeah, you can feel the energy in the crowd. You understand what's at stake here. Punching a ticket to Super Regionals. This is something that this Tennessee team has missed out on in the last 2 years. They're in the driver's seat. They've got a 5-run lead and an opportunity to close this thing out. Bring these fans back to Knoxville next weekend.
They're looking to erase the memories of James Madison in 2021, of Oregon State a year ago, and get back to Supers for the first time since 2019. And out away from going 3-0 on the weekend. And Copeland up the middle gets Indiana's third run. What fight from the Hoosiers here.
really fantastic fight. Again, just so reflective of everything Coach Shonda Stanton and these players have been telling us all weekend long. They've relied on their offense. They're averaging over 6 runs a game. This is one of the toughest pitching staffs in the entire country. Number 4 in the nation in ERA. They knew the task. But again, they're going to continue to fight and rely on this offense, find ways to score and chip away.
Avery Parker held up on the first pitch, so 1-0. First runs of the game for the Hoosiers coming here in the 7th. Pickens dials it back up to 75. Katsoyanopoulos says, hey, we're good.
And she's trying to settle her down. And again, this zone behind the plate is so tight. And the umpire has missed some easy calls in the strike zone. But again, Julia Katsoyanopoulos going out. It's one of the things that Karen Weekly really applauded her on, was her ability to communicate with those pitchers. And for Carlin Pickens, hasn't found that consistency yet. She's got to lock in, and she's also got to realize you got a big lead. You got to throw the ball down the middle, and that's okay. I'm not saying you should always throw the ball down the middle, but it's trust your defense behind you. And I think she should go back to the off-speed pitch. That's been the most consistent strike call. Put it in at 58 miles an hour. If they hit it, tip your cap. But that's the only thing that you can get it for a strike. I'd rather have the defense have a hand versus getting walked.
3-0. There's a strike. And it's 3-2. Indiana's got 1 strike to work with as the postseason picture becomes ever clearer. 12 teams are into supers, 4 spots to be decided, and the Lady Vols are just a pitch away from keeping the stadium open another weekend. The 3-2 rounded over to third and foul. Now I know that there were a lot of questions about Pickens after the SEC tournament. She didn't pitch in any of the first 2 games. Do you think today resolves any of those questions?
I mean, unfortunately, I don't. I think that she hasn't proven yet. Remember, she's a freshman. She hasn't proven yet that she can really lock down here in the postseason. But it doesn't matter. She's feeling it right now, and she got that final out for her team.